Dear students, welcome to my channel HSC English Version Tutorials. Today we will learn how to calculate owner's equity. Look at this expanded accounting equation. O equals C minus D plus R minus E. By using this equation, we can easily calculate the amount of owner's equity. Here O means owner's equity. C means capital, D means drawings, R means revenue, revenue means income, and E means expenses. See, there is a minus sign before this D. As D means drawings, so we will put here a minus sign before these drawings. Look at here again. See, there is a plus sign before this R. As R means revenue or income, so we will put here a plus sign before this revenue. Look at here again. See, there is a minus sign before this E. As E means expenses, so we will put here a minus sign before these expenses. After finishing calculation, finally we will get the amount of owner's equity like this. To calculate the owner's equity, we may get several types of transactions in the question paper. Among those several types of transactions, we will have to consider only the transactions that have the ability to affect owner's equity. Now, the question is, what kind of transactions can affect owner's equity? Look at this equation. R means revenue or income and E means expenditure. There are two types of income that we will get in the question paper. One is capital related income and the other is profit related income. There are also two types of expenditure that we will get in the question paper. One is capital related expenditure and the other is profit related expenditure. This profit related income and this profit related expenditure can affect the owner's equity. But this capital related income and this capital related expenditure cannot affect the owner's equity. Therefore, to calculate the owner's equity, we will have to consider only those transactions of income or expenditure that are related to profit. On the other hand, we will have to avoid those transactions of income or expenditure that are related to capital. Again, the question is, how can we identify the transactions of income or expenditure that are related to capital or profit? Actually, the transactions that give long-term benefit to the company are related to capital. On the other hand, the transactions that take place regularly are related to profit. Look at these examples now. Salary paid taka 20,000, machinery purchased taka 29,000, goods sold taka 18,000 and rent paid taka 25,000. We know that giving salary is an expense. Purchasing machinery is also an expense. Selling goods is an income. And paying rent is an expense. Salary has to be paid regularly. That means this transaction has the relation to profit. Therefore, we will have to consider this transaction to calculate the owner's equity. Machinery can be used year after year. That means this transaction is related to capital. So, we will have to avoid this transaction to calculate the owner's equity. Goods have to be sold regularly. That means we will have to consider this transaction to calculate the owner's equity. Rent has to be paid regularly. Therefore, we will have to consider this transaction to calculate the owner's equity. This is a board question and this is its solution. See, Mr. Motin started business at 1st December 2018 with cash taka 30,000 and office equipment taka 40,000. Here, Mr. Motin is the owner. He brought this 30,000 taka as cash and this 40,000 taka as office equipment to start his business. Therefore, this 30,000 taka and this 40,000 taka was his capital. Look at this equation. This C means owner's capital. So I wrote here capital 30,000 plus 40,000, that is 70,000, and here I wrote the date. Purchasing goods is an expense, and as this expense is related to profit, I wrote here goods purchased with this minus sign, and I wrote this date here. Purchasing office equipment is also an expense, but this expense is related to capital. So I didn't take this transaction to calculate the owner's equity. This transaction is related to profit. So I wrote this transaction here to calculate the owner's equity. As purchasing goods is an expense and related to profit, I wrote this transaction here with this minus sign. This transaction is related to profit. So I wrote here this transaction. Paying salary is an expense and is related to profit. Therefore, I wrote this transaction here with this minus sign. This is the answer. So, dear viewers, that was the all for today. Thanks a lot for watching this tutorial.